going on in the world of gaming news.
I'm here to do the news tonight.
And that's the way the news goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this program to bring you important news.
Here's a story that's out of this world.
The longest news intro ever.
We need to think of something to do in between there, because I just feel like a dolt over here.
I really want to have a nice animation to go along with that, but...
that would help. Otherwise, I feel like I should be putting on a news cap, straightening my tie, and, like, shuffling my papers.
Right, yeah. All right, so over to Robbie at the news desk.
That's right. Robbie at the news desk today, filling in for Callie, because he's at home resting after a long drive in the snow. So Steam sales this year will be abandoning the flash sale method wherein games would go on sale for short periods of time. This year, sales on games will run for the duration of the event, with the games being on the featured page for anywhere from 1 to 2 days. Steam Fall Sale will run from 1 p.m. Eastern on November 25th until 1 p.m. December 1st, and the Winter Sale will run from the 22nd of December to January 4th. Gotta say, that's some great news for me. Even better news for Chris over here, who's always late to the game, and I'm like, hey, great game on sale. Make sure you pick it up. You have like 6 hours left. Okay, man, I really wish I would have got this game.
Fail.
To be fair, I've only said that to one game, and that's XCOM.
The game like you want the most.
Yeah.
And that you play the shit out of when I'm not playing Steam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See?
I played it more than he has.
Yeah, well, I think that's a big deal. You know, like Steam always has, they've had this very successful structure for their sales. And shaking it up. I'm curious to see how people like it and how they'll end up responding.
Well, I mean, they're on sale for longer, so as a consumer, it's win-win regardless. There's no downside to this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Afro Samurai 2, based off the popular anime, released to phenomenally awful reviews. They were so bad, in fact, the game was pulled and refunds have been issued to any who purchased the game.
Ooh, wow, that's bad. But I mean, who was really excited for Afro Samurai 2? Really?
I got nothing.
I'm sure they had to hire some voice guy who's doing his best impression of Sammy Jackson. That was the one that Sammy Jackson did a voice for, right? I think.
I don't know.
I feel like it makes sense. If you're going to have a character named Afro Samurai, you better get Samuel fucking Jackson to voice him.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think anyone is going to be too upset about Afro Samurai not performing up to par.
Well, no, they got their refunds back.
Yeah, that's good. At least there's that.
Sony has confirmed that the company is working on a method of emulating PlayStation 2 games on the PlayStation 4, and this will be a feature in the future. Disc-based emulation
feature in the future,
unconfirmed. That's
not a thing yet.
No,
right? No, can't you buy like a lot of PS2 games like off the PS Network Marketplace anyway?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of PS2 games that have been getting HD reboots over the last couple of years, but I don't think. No, I don't think that's a thing.
Well, you can get all the Final Fantasies, right?
Yeah.
You can get the Suikoden games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Not all of them. Just Suikoden 1 and 2.
Okay, the important ones.
No, but I mean, I think that's, I don't know. I mean,
that is a big thing, but I also feel like it should have been here already. How is that not a thing?
Yeah, I mean, my computer can handle PS2 games. Why can't the PS4?
Yeah.
That always boggles my mind when I hear of like a new age or new gen system, and it's like, oh, you can't play Xbox games on the Xbox One. I'm like, why would they not include that?
Well, backwards compatibility. I mean, it's a way to. I don't really know. I've always thought that it would be a good idea to have new systems support old games. But I mean,
seems like a clinch pin to me.
You don't want to have like fucking 4 PS systems on your desk or on your fucking game system thing.
Right.
I mean, obviously, from like a business standpoint, you know, you want people to have to keep buying stuff, I guess, but eventually you're going to drop support for those systems, and eventually those systems are going to crap out on people, but the games are still going to be in good condition. So just at the behest of keeping your customers happy, and I don't just mean on that whole the customer's always right bullshit. I mean just genuinely, like when the Xbox One and PS4 were first coming out, and Xbox One didn't have backwards compatibility, or when they announced that they were getting it, and people were like, I'm like, really? That's not something they already had?
Right.
That should have been packaged in the deal.
I agree. I mean, I think it's just a way to try to suck more money out of people. I mean, if everyone could play, all of their games on one system, then I mean, I don't know. I don't see the negative. I don't see the downside to this. But I mean, like in the most okay, for putting a PS2 disc in a PS4 and having it play, yeah, there's some technical limitations that have to be taken into consideration there, which I don't know what they are, but probably. But I truthfully don't understand why they don't make a larger part of their back catalog, their digital back catalog, available right off the rip.
Yeah, because I'd pay for the shit out of some Vandal Hearts.
Oh, yeah,
which apparently somebody has recently told me in a conversation that happened off air that Vandal Hearts isn't as good of a game as what I remembered it being.
It really isn't. I mean, it's still a good game, but it just doesn't have too much depth in terms of like changing your character classes and stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses. Anyway, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, the next entry in the popular franchise, has been delayed until August 2016. No specifics were given on the reason, other than that the delay was for the fine-tuning and refinement rather than the major shifts. Also to be included in the collector's edition, the bonus alternate ending. That was a joke and a dig at you.
Fun. Yeah, good job.
Because in Metal Gear Solid 5, they cut out a whole chapter.
I get it. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I don't know. I
played the last one. It was good, I guess.
How did you play all of it?
Yeah.
Really?
I played it through and beat. I actually played it 1.5 times because there was a really fucking stupid ass achievement that I was trying to get because this is back on the Xbox when I actually cared, called the Foxiest of Hounds. And like throughout the entire playthrough, you can't alert any guards or any alarms, but there's nothing really telling
Which
you.
Which is a Metal Gear reference, by the way.
and I get it now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
And there's no way to tell if you have or not because there's, in the terminology within the game system, the actual mechanics, like you can alert, a guard can be alerted, right? Like in an alert status.
Right.
They can't actually see you or set off an alarm, or alarms can be like in alerted mode, but it was stupid. I never got it.
Yeah, well, of course not. No.
But yeah, no, good game otherwise. I liked it.
Did you play the first Deus Ex?
I did not. No.
There's the people who played it really revere the shit out of that game.
That was back during one of the earlier systems too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember what actual system it's for. I mean, like I watched.
What kind of gaming expert are you?
Well, no, I mean, there's there's PC versions of it that you can get that have way better textures and have upped the resolution of the game, but I when you still look at it, it's still so dated, so old, and I don't know. I'd really love to go back and play it, maybe with some of those mods. But yeah,
Chad
the people
is saying PS2 era.
The people who played that game sincerely love the shit out of it, and I'd love to be able to find out what they loved about it so much. So I don't know. The next Deus Ex doesn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah, well, Konami has also released a patch for Metal Gear Solid 5, including the ability to create a third FOB. What's a FOB?
Forward operating base.
Forward operating base. Updates on stealth infiltration and level 7 items, as well as online development items, which heavily incentivize microtransactions.
Ooh, yay.
This has been met with mixed reviews from players. Well, of course it has.
Yeah, it's
microtransactions.
It's not great. That game has not been supported well, which is what happens when you fire the entire dev team.
Oh, the whole dev team. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Kojima's just on vacation, though, remember?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know that, yeah. Anyway, okay, yes. What else we got here?
This next one, Star Wars Battlefront. Now, this is going to be interesting because this is obviously a big, huge release that we should at least talk about a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did talk about it a little bit last time on the show.
Yep.
So, yeah.
None of us have actually had hands-on experience with it. So take this this following little tidbit of news with a grain of salt. But we're going to break down just a few of the things that have been being said about it. And when I pulled up a search of it, the first thing that popped up right at the top, apparently EA is trying to pay off some celebs to say that they like the game.
Ooh, not good.
Well, now hold on.
Now, wait, what is the evidence that exists there? I mean,
well, because here's my thing. Like, where do we draw the line between like a celebrity, in your ad and like endorsing you that way to you trying to buy their, like, what's the difference? Where do we draw the line? What's okay, what's not okay? If you get Captain Kirk on and he's all making Star Trek puns and stuff. I realize they're different things. He's just the first person that popped in my head. Star Wars, Star Trek. Don't crucify me. And it's like, oh, buy it. Or no, fuck it. The way that World of Warcraft used to do it. Remember they had the Mr. T one?
Yes, I do.
Who else did they have? Mr. T is the only one that's coming to mind right now.
Yeah, Mr. T was the one that they pushed the hardest. But
Yeah.
Vern Troyer, didn't they have one with Vern Troyer?
was one.
Yeah.
So,
Wasn't there some girl too?
I think there was, but I don't remember
Felicia
who it was.
Day? Felicia Day might have?
I don't know.
Anyway, point is, like, we look at that, not a big deal. We scoff at it. Okay, they're just running an ad, right? But if they go up to someone and they're like, hey, Chris Evans, here's $50,000. Could you say into the camera that you like playing Battlefront? That's not okay, right?
Well, I mean, how do you classify celebrity? Like,
I mean, it's the exact same thing, really.
Yeah,
but for
it
some
is.
reason, that second one is that's not okay.
it is. No, well,
Well, the first one is like they're making it tongue in cheek. I mean, it's like kind of like a parody. So, I mean, I feel like that's the difference versus them just trying to like be an honest opinion of the game. That's their opinion is being bought.
yeah, that's the thing. Is this being like, is this for a commercial? If it's for a commercial for Battlefront, that's like one thing. But if they're paying like celebrities to go do interviews
Or go on social media and be like, "Hey, this Battlefront game's really fun. I played
something
it."
like that. Yeah, I think that's a little bit more shady inherently. But the other thing is that like. Is this like big name Hollywood celebrities or people that are involved with the film? If it's people involved with the film, that's different. That's just doing marketing for Star Wars. That makes sense. But are we talking about like Twitch celebrities?
Well,
because
the
if that's the
problem
case,
is,
if it's like
I
gaming media celebrities, that's a problem.
Well, here's the thing. I clicked on the link, right?
Yeah.
The more story.
Right.
And then it gave you an ad.
It took me to an ad, so I clicked on the wrong arrow. And I figured, I want to find out more about the game, not, about EA paying off celebrities. So there's that. About the game, though, I did pull up a review on Kotaku, and it was pretty massive, right? But I kind of scanned through and pulled out a few of the things.
Right.
And apparently what you're being led to see in trailers and in screenshots, basically it says the game is trying to pull off the fact that, you're going to be living or fighting and playing in a Star Wars movie in these big epic battles.
Sure.
But what ends up happening is oftentimes it's more kind of arcadey and comical than anything else. The reviewer talks about being in a battle and, a giant TIE fighter crashes in front of him, which should be something really, amazing and cool. But it's more kind of slapstick and funny. And the next thing you know, you have the skin bag Emperor Palpatine just like rolling over you. And he's so sprightly as he's dodging around and tackling people like M. Bison from Street Fighter. I'm pretty sure I just paraphrased that completely out of the thing, That's the kind of thing you're going to see in Star Wars. And,
Yeah.
And the next line is, to me, it's kind of damning, but I think that they kind of meant it like, I don't know, as like praise in a way, or like, trying to characterize it, but they kind of said it was the Jar Jar Binks of Star Wars games.
Wow. That's I don't think that's that's definitely not a compliment.
Right?
Yeah.
So, whatever that means. Maybe I missed some type of context in the review as I was skimming it, but yeah.
I mean, and a lot of people are complaining about this game. It's only got 9 multiplayer maps, 7 different battle types.
There's no campaign mode.
No single player campaign.
there
But
is
everyone
some-
knew this. We talked about that on the last episode a month ago.
There is some single player battles and survival mode, but it's not enough to hold it up as a single player only game. The review went on to say that if you do not plan on paying this with people or playing it with people, stay away from it.
Yeah.
And for $50-$60, $50 season pass, oof, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a $90 price tag when all's said and done. That's insane.
For a game that's just Call of Duty in space. Although I will give it this.
I mean, technically it's Battlefield in space, but yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, point is, I saw a video where like some Luke Skywalker force pushed a guy off a cliff and he got hit by a TIE fighter.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're into this kind of game, if you're into, the whole Star Wars thing and you like, the multiplayer that's, repetitive and over and over and over, you're probably going to get a lot of fun out of this. I mean, the reviewer said that he was, laughing in tears a lot of the times by, a lot of the stuff that's happening on the battlefield. And so that's cool. But if you also get sick of repetition really, really quickly, you're probably going to get bored of it. And honestly, I think what it's going to come down to, because for me, when it comes to multiplayer things that are just the same every single time, I've never been able to stick with them long. Like Call of Duty, I'd always do the campaign. I'd always do it on insanity mode. Then I'd play multiplayer for maybe 2 days, and then that's it. I'd be done with it. The only multiplayer that was different was the Mass Effect multiplayer in number 3, which I did not even expect there to be a fucking multiplayer, so I was expecting it to be absolutely horrible. But you play with 4 friends, and just the shit that goes down is funny, it's epic, it's memorable, and there's a lot of teamwork involved. And I guess if they can capture that same kind of essence in Battlefront, maybe the diehards and the people who are into it will stick with it long enough. But for someone who isn't into it, and they're just trying to sell a game to like the masses, the casual masses in general, I wouldn't pick it up.
I don't know. I think that this game would have benefited hugely from a single player campaign.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and you have all of the art assets put together. It's just a matter of putting some set pieces together and cutting some dialogue. And I don't think it would have been that much to put just a very basic first player campaign into it. And like it's not like Call of Duty's solo campaign is like that long. I mean, it's good.
No.
Don't get me wrong. Most of the Call of Duty campaigns are really good.
Voice acting's top notch.
And well presented. And they, like Treyarch has done a really, really good job. And, dude, I just put a little bit more effort. And the fact that people are buying it like crazy is just, it does not.
Well, I think that Force Awakens hype.
Well,
let's be honest. That's going to play a major factor in it. That
You're
is
right.
huge.
You're right. No, you're right. But that's what EA is banking on. They're like, they feel like they don't have to develop as much of a product because they've got the movie hype to be able to push it even farther. And you know what? I really hope that people really don't buy into it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that it's a great game and people are it had a very great opening weekend. I don't know what its sales numbers are off the top of my head, but it had a great opening weekend. And I really hope that in the long term that it doesn't end up gaining a whole lot of steam or popularity. You know what I mean?
It really depends on the kind of support they give it.
Yeah.
And for $50 season pass, they fucking better give it something good.
But the expectations of gamers have been pushed so low at the same time. Like, is EA going to follow through? No. Are they really going to be held responsible for it? Probably not.
Nope. Now, I have a quick question that I don't know if the two of you will know the answer to it or not, or if chat will, but I remember back when Disney first bought out Lucasfilms, and I know that one of the things they did was they retconned all of the expanded canon from the books and the novels and stuff, and there was a Battlefront game that I think was in production back then that was actually canned, wasn't it? Was this that title?
Do not know. I have no clue. I have no
recollection.
Idea.
All right,
no
well,
idea.
that's maybe a thing
that does not
to
sound
look
familiar
up,
to me at all.
I remember hearing something about that. But
Chat, let us know if you know anything about that. Let us know.
All right, so then the other big thing, maybe not big thing, interesting thing, because I mean I never would have saw this if Nate here didn't toss it onto the outline. But I guess there's a Forbes article. I guess I read it. There's a Forbes article about terrorists possibly using the PlayStation Network to organize terror attacks, and this came out of the wake of the Paris bombings. After I guess raiding a bunch of places, they found some PS4s, and I know it's exactly where it's going. That whole terrorists and they found these, so they must be using them. And the article actually didn't try to shift and put a whole bunch of blame on gamers at all. Basically, it kind of went through and detailed a lot of the benefits and security leaks around being able to do something, and basically it comes from the fact that because there isn't a lot of ways to track that kind of stuff, and because they're so low tech that it could be used, for people to communicate that way, hopping into games or doing their voice chat programs.
Jesus, anything could be used. Second Life could be used. I mean, for Christ's sake, man.
But then at the end, they do say that it's very possible that, the people who are, being suspected of this could have just been gaming with each other. No.
It's fucking ridiculous. That is the worst clickbait journalism that I can think of.
Ad.
Yeah, right. And the thing is that it comes from Forbes, which is really my mom sent me a link to that article, which is like that. I think that says a lot right there. You know what I mean? But like, seriously,
Nate, are there terrorists in your games?
honestly, like I don't even understand what the argument is supposed to be. Like, like the fact that it's just not monitored communication.
I think so, because there was also a sizable chunk of the article in there mentioning how the FBI or the CIA, one of the two, a while ago, petitioned for the rights or the authorization, whatever, to be able to find ways to be able to monitor that kind of shit. I mean, it was all during that whole thing when like the Kinect Eye in the Eye for the PlayStation came out, and people were all like, "Oh, government's gonna watch us.
It's gonna be permanent, whatever." Oh my god,
no one wants to watch
Seriously,
you masturbate.
But the thing is that it comes from Forbes. That's the insane thing, is that it's not coming from some fucking Alex Jones InfoWars weird ass corner of the web. It's coming from a major news outlet like Forbes. It's a million % speculation. There's no evidence that they were used. There's no evidence that if they had used them, that would have provided them secure communication. I mean, one of the articles went so far as to say that it was encrypted communication, which is not. No. Insane.
What they specifically said was because it's so, I guess, low tech and hard to monitor, that it's safer than if they were to use encrypted cell phones.
Well, that's. It's funny when you play the telephone game, because the link that my mom had sent me was to a local news outlet here in Detroit, who by the time the story had filtered down to them, they have no journalistic integrity and are fact checking literally nothing that they're putting up, and are going so far as to say that it's encrypted technology, and that the messages that we send across PSN are fucking encrypted, which is absolutely insane.
That's the stupidest thing I've heard since Fox News tried to label Mass Effect 1 as an alien sex simulator.
Way to go, WXYZ.
Well,
nice job.
Hold on. That's not exactly false. Mass Effect 1 being an alien sex simulator.
I mean, it does play a key role in the story.
Look, just because it's the only reason that you started playing it, all right?
I mean, that's like trying to say that Persona isn't also a dating sim, that it's just an RPG. That is not correct.
But it's not a alien sex. There's one alien you can have sex with, and you don't even get to see it.
Well, seeing it is not the point. That's not the point.
That's what a simulation is.
Anyway.
Some other big news to come out of Nintendo is there was a headline, I think just last week or a few weeks ago, that they are planning. They have their whole big mobile gaming initiative that they've started pushing forward. Right?
Yeah.
Apparently, all of those games they're going to put out free to play.
Oh wow. That's really cool.
That's kind of huge.
Yeah.
Nintendo, give me free stuff.
That's kind of like that floored me, guys. Now, maybe I'm thinking too grandiose for this, okay? Because obviously we haven't seen a lot of mobile games developed by actual game developers. Right? I mean, we had a whole episode where we talked about what's the difference between mobile games and apps and blah, 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 blah. But I feel like with major gaming corporations like Nintendo, right, coming into this scene, that we should see some type of revolutionary shift in mobile gaming. I mean, is that a wild expectation of me?
Well, I think that we've seen great strides in mobile gaming coming from I don't know. I was fucking around with gaming apps back when before I had a smartphone. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we've come pretty far from Snake. Let's be let's be honest here. So I think I think that the bigger companies stepping into the mobile arena, a lot of people are inherently skeptical of it, and I think this is Nintendo's way of trying to actually court hardcore gamers that are part of its normal audience to say, hey, try our games for free. Like it's like a bridge. Like, hey, try our mobile games and see what you like. And I think if they start gaining some traction and gaining some steam for Nintendo, we could start seeing Nintendo start going the route of microtrans and doing the more traditional ways that people are able to make money off their mobile products.
So here's what my concern is.
So it's like they're going like, hey, we'll give you everything that we've put out already, and then we're going to try. I think that it would provide a pretty good baseline of data to tell them, okay, this is the direction that we should take mobile gaming in the future.
I agree 100%. I mean, just in all the games that I've played, ones that have optional microtransactions are the ones that I've dropped more money on monthly than what I probably do sometimes for Final Fantasy 14. I mean, take Record Keeper alone. Whenever they come out with a new event now, you can do a special draw for their relics for $1. Right. Never used to do relic draws that way before, but for $1, fuck it, we're doing it, right?
It's a McDouble, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I put more money in that I'm comfortable admitting even to myself, right? So I think that that's definitely the way to go. What I'm concerned about is do we want companies like Nintendo or Sony or Square Enix or whatever making their own versions of Flappy Bird or Temple Run? Because since these are actual game developers, I'm expecting more out of them.
Yeah, I don't think that's what we're going to get.
That's stupid. That's stupid. That's dumb, and I think it's lazy as well. If they're just getting in there to reap some of the profits that are already sitting there, but I don't think that we're going to start. If these, it's like Square Enix. Square Enix has entered the mobile arena, and we've gotten great things like Record Keeper and some other original mobile games. Rings of Fate, I think, was the other one.
There's like Grandmasters of something.
Yeah, the one that's still out in Japan right now. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And they've got the 11 mobile game coming as well. Right. So I mean, when you get bigger companies stepping into the arena, we're not seeing any evidence of them going after the Flappy Bird market.
Well, it's obviously,
not, they're not doing. I don't think they're doing the cash grab thing. Although, granted, Konami's still developing their business strategy. Yeah. So,
well, because I mean, even if it comes down to the complexity of games, I mean, Record Keeper has keeps me locked in a lot more than any other game on Facebook or in the mobile market did, because it has a lot more complexity to it, strategy to it, when it comes to the abilities and the equipment and stuff like that. So I don't know, I feel like we need to see something with these, with them putting more money towards it than just what you get from like indie developers, that we should see a significant change or a significant shift in the way that mobile games are going. And microtransactions, absolutely. If they're putting them out for free, that's the only way that they're going to be able to make their money. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I'm just having a hard time trying to conceptualize in my head what that shift is going to look like. I mean, for example, take the whole 3D market, right? There's very few people right now who are looking to utilize it. I mean, obviously the next gens are going to be all about the Morpheus and stuff like that.
Are you now with 3D? Are you talking like 3D televisions that you put on the glasses?
Sorry,
VR.
VR. Yes,
okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Looking right now at the stuff that's coming out of VR, obviously it's exciting, right? But as soon as that stuff actually like hits market, right? 4 or 5 years afterwards, you're going to look back on the stuff they were developing at the beginning and be like, oh, what the fuck is that shit? You know what I mean? Once more people are into it, once more people are throwing money at it, it just explodes, right? And so now that these big companies like Nintendo and Sony, who have been doing this shit forever and have the tools and the money to do it bigger, better, and right, if there isn't some type of paradigm shift, what the fuck?
Well, then I think we're going to see a big fall off in mobile gaming. That's what I think. I mean, it's going to take the guys that do this professionally to step into the arena and say, okay, this is how it's going to be done. Now that's not to take anything away from indie games, indie developers, or small DIY development projects. Those will always kind of have they will always have their market. They will always have their place, and they will serve to always be a counterbalance in terms of creativity to these large AAA titles and these large AAA development studios. But the way, I mean, it's hard to argue that these large game companies don't know how to make games. They do.
Oh, absolutely.
They absolutely do. And I think that if that they can utilize, I mean, and finally the hardware is catching up. Like, that's really the big thing, is that hardware on tablets and on phones is catching up to the point where gaming can actually utilize the hardware that it's given. And it's going to take someone, and I think Nintendo is primed to make this move to create some kind of unified engine that can scale between different platforms. And we've seen that the Fox engine can do that. It can scale between 7th and 8th generation. If we can get an engine that is so flexible, and let's be honest, Nintendo doesn't need a whole lot of art assets to be able to make its point. Like,
no.
where everyone's been going photorealistic, Nintendo has been like, yeah, we've got our own design and we're going to try to go with that. So they don't actually need the same crazy hardware specs that other, AAA games might need. So if they can create a way to, much like the way Smash Brothers scaled between the 3DS and the Wii U, if they can do that where it's inherent between the handheld platform, the console, the console experience on your TV, and a mobile, like a mobile game version of that too, man, I think that they have a real opportunity to capitalize on a huge market there.
You mentioning that whole Smash Brothers on the console and on the handheld, just hit me that was a precursor for the whole NX thing.
I think it is.
Oh my God! It's like I just found out Bruce Willis was dead at the end of Sixth Sense.
Like, like the 3DS version had some drawbacks. It didn't have as many features as the console version, but I mean, it was clear that they were using pretty close to the same game engine, and the mechanics are exactly the same. I mean, the mechanics on the 3DS are exactly the same as if you're playing them on the Wii U.
Have you guys heard anything of? In fact, a kid that I work with just spent his PlayStation 4 money on it. But apparently, there is actually a VR peripheral for cell phones.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, is it that thing that you can put your cell phone in and into it's like this goggle? Yeah.
Oh, it better not be. If he spent $300 on that, I will throw him under a bus.
I have no idea. Anyway,
I was going to make a joke about how we're going to have a Mushroom Kingdomville, and you can populate your little Mushroom Kingdom with toads and stuff, but I just realized that's literally Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
If they put Animal Crossing on phones, do you realize how much money they're going to make?
Yeah, that's true. That is, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. All right, so that wraps up our news discussion here.